Welcome to episode 43 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And today we're going to talk about a movie that came and went for me called She Done Him Wrong from 1933. Got just one nomination at the 6th Academy Awards for Best Picture, which kind of raises an eyebrow. This movie's about an hour long, and like I said, I just didn't really care for it. What do you think?
It's pointless. I fell asleep 3 times, and it's an hour long.
Yeah. I totally feel that. Where you feel like it's a 2-hour run time. And yeah, it's literally an hour long, this movie. She Done Him Wrong from 1933, starring Mae West and Cary Grant. And, there's some decent stuff performance wise in it, but just the story is so lazy. And then these characters are just kind of stereotypes. So I just didn't really go for this one, but we have awards picked out for it that we're going to talk about later. We're also going to just kind of take a look at the 6th Academy Awards for fun. But before we get into that, because it's not going to be a whole lot of fun necessarily, I want to do something because the 93rd Academy Awards, which are, going to be talking about the films of, 2020 and some films from 2021, those are about a month away now. It's what's today? We're recording this on Friday night. So, we're literally, on Sunday when you're listening to this, it's literally a month away from the big day, April 25th. On Sunday is when the Oscars will happen, and there's a lot of interesting individuals who are kind of working behind the scenes on it. And I'm getting more and more excited, but I kind of want to see where you're at, Connor, as a individual and as an Oscar fan, with the Best Picture nominees. So I kind of want to go down the line here and just kind of see where we're both at, if we've seen them, where you saw them, and just kind of where do you think they deserve this spot, and kind of where you see them. We'll start with The Father, because that's the first one listed here on the basic ass Wikipedia page. I have not seen this one. It's in theaters. I intend on trying to, knock this one out. It's actually the only one I haven't seen of the whole group. And I know you've seen them all, but I want to know where and how and all that good jazz. The Father is one you saw the most recently, probably, right?
Of the nominees, yes, that was my most recent.
Okay.
That was my long-awaited return to the Draft House. I was very much looking forward to that. I was at the Draft House Park North by the North Star Mall, and I was the only one there in the theater, which is not weird these days. And I had a great time by myself, and the movie is a emotional roller coaster for sure. It's a very sad movie, very realistic movie, the most realistic depiction of just a dementia-ridden mind that I've ever seen. And I do think it does deserve a nomination for Best Picture.
Hell yeah. I'm super excited to see this one. Florian Zeller is a guy who's kind of making waves. He's definitely got an eye adapting his own play. Olivia Colman, I adore what she's done the past few years, and of course seeing her alongside Hopkins is something that I got to see. So that's the only one I haven't checked out, but I know you've been staying committed and going to the theater, and I very much respect that. I can't wait to get back. I'll probably be hitting up Santikos Embassy a lot whenever all these vaccinations hit, and I feel like it's safe for my girlfriend and I to go. I can't wait. Judas and the Black Messiah, HBO Max release. Pretty decent movie. This is Shaka King's second feature length film. The first one was kind of like a dramedy type movie, and so this is a whole different level of filmmaking. This incredible biopic about Fred Hampton, starring Daniel Kaluuya and of course Lakeith Stanfield, both guys who are nominated. What do you think about Judas? Of course we both watched it at home on HBO Max, but what did you think about this?
This was fantastic. This was one of the most brutal, honest biopics I've seen in years. Kaluuya's performance, I still think about. I was so blown away, and I'm so happy Lakeith also got nominated. He was widely shut out for most of the award season, and here he is. And I'm very happy this got nominated. I want it to win. I don't know if that'll happen, but here's hoping. It deserves to be here.
Ah, man. Yeah, I definitely Oh, it definitely deserves to be here. I think it's definitely one of the strongest, releases, wide releases, right, of the past calendar year. There's no question about that. And inside of it are, like you said, two pretty amazing performances. Daniel Kaluuya, it's his second nomination. Of course, he was also nominated for playing Chris in Get Out. I think he should have won. I think it should have been him or Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, but that's a different conversation. I think this movie, my favorite thing about it is how many conversations have come out of it, kind of the aftermath of a movie. And Judas and the Black Messiah is just kind of oozing with all these different styles. And then, of course, when you break down the subject matter, it is just very, very extremely, tough storytelling. Something that kind of we knew was going to be made. It had high expectations, and it delivered. For Connor and I, anyway, it really delivered. So yeah, I'm definitely pulling for this movie to win Best Picture. I don't think it's going to happen. But it would be very cool. It'd be very cool to see this gritty biopic that had just, again, oozed with style. It'd be really cool to see that get the win. I would have loved to see that one in theaters, huh? That would have been pretty powerful.
That would have been pretty powerful. I agree, but I am glad that Warner Brothers had that HBO Max deal, so we were able to see it regardless. I'm happy that that's kind of, our sneak preview show has really relied on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that we have that.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked at great length about we talked at great length about Judas and the Black Messiah on an episode on Sneak Preview, based a whole damn episode around it. And we've been able to do that, like you said, because of the streaming services with Sneak Previews, kind of base these episodes around movies that maybe came out in theaters or maybe came out on Netflix or this or that. It's great to be able to pull from all these different, resources. Do you want it to be in theaters? Of course. Of course. But yeah, it's just not totally realistic right now for everybody. And I'm glad that HBO Max also is doing the thing where there's a window of time to watch it and then it's gone. Like Judas and the Black Messiah had like a month where you could watch it and now it's off the streaming service. I think that's smart to just kind of get people, get light a fire under their ass. Hey, watch it. That's a way we create a conversation. That's how art kind of builds and, gains this following. So yeah, I'm there's pros and cons to it. That's a conversation that will never end with the streaming service stuff. Let's move on to a Netflix movie. Mank, directed by David Fincher. This came out back early December, man. It feels like ages ago. I remember this came out the same week as Sound of Metal. And you and I were like, God damn, like, I wish we were doing sneak preview now.
Yeah, I remember, we based the Citizen Kane episode around the release of Mank. That was a blast, getting to look into the career of Herman Mankiewicz and enjoy, a David Fincher film, which to us is very much an event film experience. As Fincher comes around, once in a blue moon. And this was a film based off a screenplay written by his father, that had been gestating for so long, and you could feel the love and care that everybody put into this film. And it is entertaining as shit. Mank was great. And I'm pulling for Mank. There's really there's no missteps here with the nominees. Like I'd be happy if any of these films won. That's a good year for me.
That's fair. Yeah. I felt that way last year. Like it was almost scary, to where my least favorite movies were Joker and The Irishman. And I was like, I kind of like those a little bit, and that just doesn't happen. And for it to happen again, to an extent, there's a couple I don't feel as strongly about, but we'll get to them. Mank. I'm an absolute sucker. When we plan these episodes, for Oscar Sunday, there's so many people you can kind of base your conversations around. There's movies you can base your conversations around, and it is very apparent that we did Fight Club early on with this show, we did Citizen Kane, and we talked about Mank. And I can't stay away from Fincher. I love the guy's filmography. There's kind of something there in every movie. Even Alien 3 is kind of like, because it's the weirdo, like you don't belong, but it's kind of funny. and Mank, to me, it leads all movies with 10 nominations. And to me, in my mind, it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's right. But it also raises my eyebrow, like, wait a minute. If the Academy thinks so, then what's wrong with me? And you don't want to always agree with these giant groups of people that are voting for stuff. But I think they got it right here. I love Mank. I think it's a borderline masterpiece, one of the strongest movies of the year for sure, and so damn entertaining. I think that's where people have gotten it kind of misunderstood. I don't know what they think they're watching. It's like, just watch the fucking movie. Watch Gary Oldman. Watch Amanda Seyfried. Just watch them. You don't have to. And if you want the background knowledge, that's great. It's great. Watch Citizen Kane do this and that. But I feel like people set this weird expectation for Mank, like it's going to change their lives or something. It's a fucking movie. And we hold it in the same regard as all these other ones. And I think people set the bar so goddamn high for Fincher.
Yeah.
And they forget that they're watching a movie, and for me to say that, it says a lot, because I love David Fincher's work. But when I'm watching Mank, I was like laughing my ass off at times when Gary Oldman's just drunk off his ass, playing Mankiewicz, and he's, talking to the side of his mouth. I'm laughing my ass off. And when Fincher is doing things that I've seen him do in movies past and kind of perfecting it, I like that. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I definitely think it'd be really cool if it won. I just do not think it's happening. I think it's going to actually lose a lot of them. It's going to be like Chinatown, where it got a lot and might only win one or two. That of course happened to Chinatown. It was nominated for 11 and only won one. And sometimes it can happen. I think Mank is going to be in that kind of place.
I think Mank takes home a few technical awards, maybe production design, maybe makeup. But yeah, I think the acting awards, probably not. I think the Academy gave Gary Oldman his Oscar, and I don't think they're going to give him another one, regrettably. And Amanda Seyfried, I don't see it happening.
Yeah. I love what they're both doing, but I wouldn't even necessarily choose them. I just love how entertaining they both are in that movie.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, we're going to keep, bringing up these streaming services. I believe, well, Minari, you had to rent. I believe it was what, $19.99? Something like that. And you and I split that. So I watched it one night, then you watched the next, we kind of just did it that way. And woo, Jesus Christ. This is a good one. This is one that I want to return to like very soon. Minari is, reminds me a lot of the films I've been kind of digging into the past year in my own time. Just reminded me of some of like the greats with Lee Isaac Chung's patience with this movie.
Yeah.
Reminded me of, Barry Jenkins and Alfonso Cuarón and some guys who just really have an understanding of pace and tempo and movement. And this Minari, just the whole time you're kind of the hairs on your neck are just up. You don't know why. You're just kind of there. You're just kind of going and going and going and on this journey. And you keep kind of getting jabbed, you kind of keep getting jabbed. You never really get punched in the face, but it's those like 1,000 jabs in this movie that just kind of keep coming at you. By the end of it, you're like, whoo, what a film. And it reminded me of a lot of movies I love. And I love when movies do that.
Well, the week this came out officially for all of us to rent and watch, we had a sneak preview already planned around the United States versus Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
And the way we do sneak preview is we pick one movie that comes out during the week to base the bulk of our conversation around. And then whatever else we get to, we kind of bring up as an appetizer. And Minari, I don't think any of us were prepared for what that was going to be. And I think we both kind of regretted not making it the base.
Yeah. And Brianna too.
Yes.
Brianna and I both, came in hot and both gave that movie a 9, Minari. And both had our issues with the just kind of biopic-y issues of United States versus Billie Holiday. While we loved Andra Day's performance, we were both stirred by Minari. And still, we've talked about it a bit since, and it's just one of those movies that just kind kind of marinates in you, just kind of marinates in your mind.
Well, now it qualifies for a future Oscar Sunday.
For sure. Yeah. And all these films do. And, of course we like to do different decades and stuff, but since there's only 1 year, we're going to kind of throw this into like the 2010s, since it's 2020 until they start building up more. But for sure, all these movies now are on the block, man. They're movies that are potential episodes. And I would love to revisit Minari with the mindset of trying to pick awards for it, because I thought every performance was just a knockout. From the child, the little boy, to Steven Yeun, just lights out stuff.
Yeah, it was great. I was expecting it to get, when I saw the Globes, it was widely ignored. It only got like nominated for foreign film, which was a travesty. So I'm glad the Oscars threw it quite a lot of love, really gave it the respect it deserves. And I think, as we saw with Parasite getting a boost of people checking it out with last year's Oscars, I can see people thinking, looking at Minari and seeing, 6 Oscar nominations, what's this? And giving it a little bit of love. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things right there. And I'll speak for myself on this, is that Lee Isaac Chung, I'll be honest, is not a name that I had on my radar until now. Yeah. And I have to, see why that is sometimes, and even last year with Bong Joon-ho, I had seen most of his movies before Parasite, but not all of them. And when he won all that shit, I damn sure went back and watched all of them, And now I feel that way about Lee Isaac Chung here. Is like, what have I missed in the past? It's like, this guy's been making movies for 25 years. Okay, let's see what else he's got in the bag. And whatever that is, the Academy kind of pushed me that way, and I'm kind of forever grateful for that, because they've done that many times for my fandom.
Yeah, sometimes people who are visionaries don't get recognized by the Academy until they're, late into their career. I mean, Christopher Plummer didn't get nominated until he was in his 80s. So, yeah, I think, what this does for us is kind of give us direction for somebody new, and then allows us to go into the past. Otherwise, we never would have, well, maybe not never, but we probably wouldn't have found them for quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Well, I think the next movie is similar in pace to Minari. That'd be Nomadland, which came out on Hulu, and that had to be mid-February, because we did a Fargo episode here on Oscar Sunday. We're trying to pay our respects to Frances McDormand, who is going for her third Oscar here. Of course, she lost the Golden Globe. A lot of people think she might lose again. I'm still holding out hope. I want her to get that third win. I want her to be in that group of, there's very few people who have won 3 or more. I would love for her to be in that group. I want to witness it, because most of the people that have done it are not with us anymore, or are not working like they were. Franny is the one that can get across that line. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of hers. I really like this role. I really like this movie, Nomadland. We both, I think, gave it like a solid 8, and we're kind of on the same page about it. Have you thought about it more?
I have. Mostly the score has kind of stayed with me. It's a movie about really kind of the decline of America and the people we're ignoring. And I can see this taking home Best Picture. It's kind of the front runner unofficially. And I don't know what kind of message do you think that would send if Nomadland is the film that wins Best Picture?
That's a very, very interesting conversation. Oh, man. We talked a little bit about just the kind of fine line that Chloe Zhao, Frances McDormand and company are kind of on here. They're kind of documentary kind of movie. These are real life people that they're filming and they're talking to that actually live this way, and like you said, have been kind of pushed aside by society. So that's a very, very interesting topic. And if a movie wins Best Picture, and I know And we all know that the movie wins Best Picture, people are going to start to try to find little things about it to pick apart. Always. If it loses, it won't happen. But when a movie wins Best Picture, you are now, you won? Let's see if you're actually any good. I think, and to back this, theory up, I'll use a huge movie. The Departed. I think The Departed would have been better suited for its legacy if it would have lost Best Picture.
Yeah, there is this kind of almost a rebel quality to the films that lose. And I can see The Departed kind of having a crown it doesn't want almost.
Yes, and Scorsese is like, that's not really my best movie. 26 years ago. 16 before Departed. I mean, and I don't like when, there's like makeup awards, right? Where we messed up, so we're going to do this. And that's it's not a totally different conversation. Because I think Nomadland, if it wins, people are going to attack it. No matter what of these movie wins, people are going to pick it apart. And Nomadland has those little things about it that I'm not quite sure how to defend. I like the movie. I think it's good. And I'm with you. The score and the direction have just kind of sat with me. There's multiple shots in this movie where I'm like, whoa, holy shit, and that's why Chloe Zhao, is up for Best Director. And those are the things that I've kind of carried with me. But I understand that if this movie wins, like, I understand that people are going to have their issues with it.
The interesting thing about this year's selection is all of these films are pretty controversial in one way or another. There's no safe bet this time. Like, anything that wins is going to spark a certain type of conversation. Like, it's a landmine field right now.
I agree. I actually think the smartest, and this, I don't think this is going to happen. I think the smartest choice is Minari.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not saying that's the best movie of the group, it's very hard to choose the best, and I have not seen The Father, so I can't totally say that. But Minari seems like the one where it's like, what is the problem with it? You know what I mean? These other ones, like you said, I've heard a lot about Judas and the Black Messiah. Okay, I'll hear that out. I've heard people who, quite frankly, hate that movie. I've heard plenty of people talk about Mank that can't stand it. Plenty of people have complained about Nomadland. And that brings us to the most controversial one, probably, of the group. And that's Promising Young Woman. Emerald Fennell's, film about, I'm not sure. Connor, maybe you can help me.
Yeah. So this is
you saw it in theaters, right?
I did, yes. Again, by myself, alone in a theater. Went in just expecting to kind of cross it off my list, ended up absolutely adoring it. And it ended up becoming, like, in a perfect world, the film that wins everything for me. But I know that's not going to happen. And there is, there's a lot of different ways you can look at this film.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have said it's insincere. A lot of people have said it's disrespectful. A lot of people have said it's just not saying enough.
Yeah.
And I just think that, again, goes back to your the way you talked about Mank. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's not trying to change the world. It's telling a story. It's telling a fictional story about a woman whose best friend is raped and driven to suicide, and she spends the rest of her existence trying to destroy the lives of everyone who was involved. It's, to me, a straight up revenge thriller. And I'm a sucker for revenge thrillers. I've always loved those stories. I always love seeing assholes get theirs. And this is very much that kind of movie to me. I loved Carey Mulligan's performance. I thought Bo Burnham was great. I think the supporting cast could have been a little bit more involved. I agree with that. But for what I went in expecting, I was very satisfied, and I love it. I bought it immediately the day it came out. Very much a fan of this. It was a solid 9 for me.
Yeah. I'm I agree with a lot of what you said, and then I still kind of interpretations and my own thoughts. Initially, you know, I rented this at home whenever it came out, but because when the, you know, this is another thing where the Oscars have have a huge play in just how people watch things. The Oscar nominations came out, and a day later, Promising Young Woman was available to rent for $6.99. A lot of people, that was smart, huh? A lot of people, including myself, went ahead and spent that $7 and dove into this movie that, of all of these, has to me, maybe not everybody, the most fascinating and interesting aftermath conversation by a landslide. I could talk about Mank forever, but hearing other people talk about Promising Woman is so fucking fascinating because of the range. And you already kind of brought up, you know, people have problems with the sincerity of it. The title Promising Woman is, you know, a lot of the media called Brock, what's that fucker's name? Brock Turner, Promising Young Man in the media whenever he did his fucking shenanigans. And, you know, it's touchy. That shit is touchy. You and I are, quite frankly, are probably not in a place to really talk about it per se. Because you know, it's a like you said, it's a revenge thriller that heavily involves suicide and rape, and probably suicide after rape, right? And because of rape, right? Because of trauma, and that's what we're led to believe in this movie. And so, you know, those are huge things, and there's going to immediately right there. There's immediately, no matter what your movie is and how good it is, how bad it is, there's going to be people who are like, fuck this shit, no matter what. I'm not one of those people at all. I kind of sunk my teeth into it, you know, as the movie started going, kept going. I was like, man, what? I was like, okay, Bo Burnham surely isn't a nice guy in this movie, you know, and of course not. And it keeps going. And, you know, Max Greenfield, all these other people who are kind of casted to play bags, right? When normally they play kind of nice guys in these other, you know, rom-com type atmospheres. I like all those decisions, like as a movie, I really do. And I think stylized, this movie is kind of through the roof, you know? There's shots in this movie that are kind of breathtaking, but it kind of ended, you know, I think for me, the reason I give it a 7 out of 10 and not higher is just, and I think that's like the ceiling of this movie, is because I just simply don't know what it's trying to say. I don't know how to interpret it, because you could look at it in so many different ways. And the immediate way I looked at it was, when the credits started rolling, was, okay, was this about how bleak everything is and how everything is just fucked and how the cops only pay attention when there's murder and not rape? Okay, so now there's 2 dead bodies on the cops' hands. Is that what we're saying? Because a girl was raped and nobody listened, and then she committed suicide because of the rape, and now we have another dead girl because of all this. Whoa! So the cops just suck? Like, is that what we're saying? And they failed to do anything because they only show up when there's murder? Is that what the message is? Or I'm not quite sure what was accomplished. You know, this guy goes to jail, sure, but she's dead. She's dead. And her whole life, like, she needs therapy, man. Like, her parents, like she's clearly losing her mind throughout this movie. And I was just like, what exactly is happening? Is she dreaming? Is this there's quite frankly, inside the 2-hour frame, there's just too much interpretation for me to kind of handle. And it got kind of out of control for me. And I was like, what was that? Was that just about how dark everything is? And that, if that is the case, that's okay, but I'm not quite sure, because not everybody's interpreting it that way.
Well, you have to remember that this is a story told from Carey Mulligan's perspective.
Yes.
And she saw a place that she had grown to feel safe at betray her and her best friend. She saw her best friend lose her mind due to being raped, and then killed herself. So then Carey Mulligan retreats into herself and thinks the world is a nightmare. Everyone is a son of a bitch, and there is no hope. So it would feel that way because we're seeing everything from her. She gets like unfairly manipulated and just
Yeah.
driven to so many dark moments throughout this film. She never gets any peace because it just, I think in a lot of ways, she's her own worst enemy. This is not a good thing to do. What she's doing is fucked up, and it ruins her life too. And I don't really know what else. Like, I don't have a lot more I can say beyond just it's her story.
Yeah.
And certain, sometimes from the narrator's perspective, the world seems a little askew. And I mean, we've seen that many times.
Yes, that's a great trope. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what Emerald Fennell was using, I think.
Yeah, and that's, I actually think if it is like flat out interpreted as just being a very, very dark part of this person's life, I think it kind of worked, there's just there's so much, this is partly due to me. I read so much, I get on Letterboxd, I get on all these different websites, and I'm just reading what people say about it. Just like, Jesus, there's people who are lighting this movie on fire, and I just don't agree with that. Because again, this brings up, it's a fucking movie. It doesn't need to solve your life as a viewer. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not supposed to be handed to you. This is
not
Emerald
a
Fennell's
biopic.
idea.
It's not made for anybody. It's a movie. It's a fictional story that's open to interpretation, and people need to stop acting like it's true.
Yeah. It's fascinating. This one, Promising a Woman, and for it to be in this group is so cool because it stirs the pot, gets a different kind of genre film in there. And of course, you and I appreciate that. It's definitely a revenge thriller at heart, and not a lot of those movies get into the best picture category. So that's pretty cool.
Personally, from my perspective, this is Death Wish with a female lead. That's what I saw. That's what I took away from it. And I'm okay with that. And, everyone's entitled to their own opinions and their own thoughts about what they think with this film and all films. But to me, I enjoyed it for what I thought it was.
Yeah. Again, I think there's really good style there. Overall, I probably need to see it again. You know what I mean? I probably need to just check it again and kind of be like, okay, maybe I'll just kind of feel more comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well, I bought it and threw it into the voodoo. So boom.
I'll check it out sometime. Yeah. It would obviously be a really cool episode to do on the show. So we got two more. We got an Amazon Prime movie and we got a Netflix movie. So let's do the Prime one real quick. Sound of Metal. This is of course a film that we brought up a little bit ago when we were talking about Mank. Came out around the same time. I believe it was December 2nd on Amazon Prime. And I remember just kind of chomping at the bit. I was ready for this movie, very, very much, a Riz Ahmed fan, and, Darius Marder, the guy who directed it, he helped write Place Beyond the Pines and Blue Valentine. He worked with Derek Cianfrance. So I'm just, kind of in on him, I'll see what his vision's about. And whoo, we have a film here. Oh boy, I love this movie. I believe I had it at number 2 on my favorite movies of 2020 when we did that for our first episode of Sneak Preview. I still adore it. I revisited it. I still adore it. It's a powerful movie. And simply put, one of my all-time favorite writers, Wesley Morris, writes for the New York Times right now, and I just adore his movie mind. He said very simply that Sound of Metal is one of the best movies about human change. And I couldn't agree more. When you chisel down your screenplay to something like losing your hearing, and you fucking pound that into the audience, it's very, very clear what this movie's about. Very, very clear what that ending, very clear that ending is supposed to make you feel a certain way. And I'm just completely rocked by this movie. I love it.
I wasn't planning on watching this. I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't heard anything about it. I didn't really look into it. And then you texted me and said, holy shit, you need to check this out. I'm like, all right, I trust his judgment. And I watched it and I'm like, holy shit, that was great. ended up being my number 10 on my top 10 best of the year. And I did not expect this to get as much Oscar attention as it did, and I'm very happy it did. It's a very brutally honest film about, like you said, change and just how there's, you got to make a decision about your future at some point, and when you're dealt a shit hand. And did he make the right one? We don't know. I personally think he didn't. I think that he had an opportunity to live in peace, and he didn't take it. And that's sad. I love the way it kind of shows his desire to hear again as an addiction. I thought that was so smart. And Riz Ahmed was fantastic. I couldn't praise this movie enough. Very, very happy I was led to this.
Yeah, and I'm pulling for my boy Paul in the Best Supporting Actor category. I would love for him. He plays Joe at the kind of the house, and he's just Jesus Christ. He's so challenging. This character is so challenging, and as a viewer, I was very, very grateful for this one, and I liked it a lot. Let's talk about Sorkin. We've brought him up. Before we did Moneyball, long time ago now on this show, and of course we kind of went down the line of Sorkin's career and talked a bit about Trail to Chicago 7, which came out on Netflix. You and I, of course, both kind of treated that movie as an event.
Yes.
Kind of got on the couch. I remember it vividly. Watched it with my brother and his wife, and we were just kind of like, here we go. And the initial viewing, I really liked it. And I just haven't had a desire to revisit it, really. I'm not sure what it is. I still stand by, I gave it an 8, and I still stand by that, but I haven't had, most of these other movies I have a desire to like really dig back into. And this is the one where I'm kind of like, yeah, I liked it, but I don't know. Just kind of neutral about it at this point, I guess.
I think it's because it's so goddamn painful. I think this movie.
Well, a lot of these movies are tough. Yeah.
This one especially is just getting, beat down from beginning to end, just knowing there's no, justice isn't real. Like, that's fucked up. And I loved this movie. When I first watched this, I remember thinking to myself, this is the film to beat at the Oscars. And then everything else came out. And I don't necessarily know if that's still true, but I think that Sorkin was in top form, like he always is, behind with the screenplay. I think his directing still leaves a bit to be desired. He's got work.
Oh yeah.
The cast is superb, and just the story is so upsetting and so infuriating that I can totally understand this being a one and done for some people.
Yeah, I guess that's confusing for me as a fan, just because I'm like, give me Judas and the Black Messiah again and again and again, and it's another late 60s docudrama that I just really, really dig. And Trial of Chicago 7, I think it's Sorkin. I think now, what you just said, I think it's his directing. I just don't really want to, similar to like Molly's Game, saw it, really liked some moments, but I don't really need to go back because it's kind of sloppy. And while I love Jessica Chastain's performance in it, I just and I feel that way about Trial of Chicago 7. I think, John Carroll Lynch is awesome. I think they should have cast somebody else other than Sacha Baron Cohen because of age. He just looks kind of ridiculous as a 25-year-old. But I think most of the cast is really good, and I think Frank Langella is the best. I think he gave the best performance in the whole movie. He's the most evil, just ridiculous judge, and he's Frank is a legend.
I agree with you with Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he wouldn't have been the guy I would have chosen from that ensemble for the Oscar nomination. To me, it would have been Mark Rylance.
Oh, no question. Yeah. Oh my God. Rylance is light years ahead of, and Eddie Redmayne, Rylance's walk is like doing circles around him at times.
And I was never, I like Mark Rylance, but I wouldn't consider myself a huge fan. I still think that he stole Sylvester Stallone's Oscar.
Yeah.
But I fucking loved him in this. And the whole cast is great. The story is just, I want to reach for the TV and punch that fucking judge. Yeah. It's a rough movie to get through, but it's very important to watch, I think, just so you can know this story. Because it's a story I had never heard of, and a lot of people I think our age don't know.
Well, same with Judas, right? You know, this
Yeah.
late '60s. There's these American stories that people, like you said, our age are just not quite familiar with because they're not in the history books. And you know, we learn now that there's a reason for that because you know,
Well,
because of reasons we probably shouldn't get into. But
I'm ready to fucking get into it.
well,
So-
it'll take a while. It could, you know. Yeah.
well, the whole idea in America, especially, that history is written by the winners. And as we
Yes.
switch those movies, Fred Hampton and the Chicago Seven lost, unfortunately, and were, you know, kind of pushed aside by the people who tell history. And it's important that their stories are told now in whatever way they can be told. And I'm happy we have these films, if you know, if only for that. But they're also great movies, and I hope they go far.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, we got a cool group here. So what would you say? I'll ask two different questions. I'll give you, what's your prediction for the Best Picture win, and what is your favorite movie of this group?
Okay, my prediction. Considering last year the Oscars broke new ground by giving a foreign film a Best Picture win for the first time, looking at their past behavior, I think they're going to play it safe this time. And I think they're going to give it to Nomadland.
Okay.
Now, in a perfect world where the Oscars are produced by Connor Eyzaguirre, I would give Best Picture to Promising Young Woman.
Oh, man. I love it. What a difference. I love that. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I got two different answers. I think I'll back up what I was saying. I think Minari is the safest pick and also a good pick. And I think I could see that happening as kind of a bit of a surprise. I believe, I'm not sure what the total is. It 6 nominations total? I'm not sure, but I could,
6, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening. My favorite, with like not even close, it's Sound of Metal. Love this movie. You know, it's kind of, you know, right there at like a 10 for me. I don't think it's happening. I also got 6 nominations, which is really cool. But I love this movie. I would freak out if it won Best Picture. I really would. I couldn't even imagine a day like that where, you know, I'd feel similar to like when Moonlight won, where I was just like, holy shit, are you kidding me? Like my actual favorite movie, you know, that's exciting. That's exciting when that stuff happens in real time. And so that'd be fucking nuts. But you know, I want to see The Father real bad, man, because I want to have that opinion. And I've heard great things, nothing but great things.
Yeah. Just be prepared. You're going to cry.
Of course, you're going to cry through most of these movies. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a question I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
Do you think there's anything missing? Do you think anything deserves to be in that group from last year?
Of course. Of course. You know me, man. You know, I think there's a whole conversation about what would you have in and what's your personal stuff. But to me, there's, you know, what's more interesting is actually look at the movies that are nominated. If you're going to put one in, you got to take one out. You know, if you're going to be like that, if you're going to be like, well, this one got snubbed, then which one would you take out? You know, I can't stand seeing that shit, whether it be about sports or movies or whatever it is, when people are like, oh, this guy got snubbed. Well, then who do you take out of the group? And until you bring that person up or that movie up, I don't want to fucking hear it. So what I'll say is, to me, there's a movie that's here that's nominated that is 10 out of 10 kind of entertainment. It's a movie I want to revisit really bad, and is without a doubt the first movie that I will choose to do on Oscar Sunday from 2020. And that's Another Round, directed by Thomas Vinterberg, starring Mads Mikkelsen, about some teachers that are just going to decide to drink a little bit and experiment. And it gets real weird and real dark and real funny at times. And I just thought it was a borderline masterpiece, and thought it was fucking silly that it was not in the Best Picture group. And the movie I would take out, because of what I said about just kind of having a lack of wanting to revisit it, it'd be The Trial of the Chicago 7. I would take that one out and put Another Round in, and spice up this entire group.
Interesting. I just saw that they put that movie on Hulu, so I'm going to be able to check that out pretty soon.
Yeah, well, if you can, go for it, obviously, because it's amazing. But I promise you, we're going to do an episode on it soon.
You want me to save it for the show? I can if you want me to.
If you want to double watch it, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't mind doing that, but I know some people like to kind of space things out.
I do like to save my first reactions for the show, for all three of these shows. So maybe I'll hold off.
Okay, and maybe in that time, we can both, just check out more Thomas Vinterberg stuff. Watch The Hunt. That movie's incredible. Jesus. Yeah, that's his. Yeah.
I've been after that one for a while. I haven't.
You've never seen The Hunt? Oh my, that is a Connor movie. Oh yeah. The Hunt and Another Round. That would be like the best double feature you can ask for, man.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you? Is there a movie that maybe it's not even nominated? Is there a movie from 2020 that you're kind of like, wait a minute?
I was honestly surprised to see Da 5 Bloods get completely shut out apart from the original score nomination.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
But for me, a film that I was really hoping would get nominated, it's a long shot, but it really spoke to my heart, and it really is like one of my favorite films of the year, is Onward.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
One of Pixar's best in years. And I love Soul, but Onward got me right here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That would be really cool. So what would you take out for Onward? If you could put a Pixar movie in, what are you taking out?
There's no good answer to that. I'd have to take out The Father.
Damn. Yeah, I know this is hard. It's hard.
It's a good movie, but it's straight up unapologetic Oscar bait. And I got no problem with that, but
hell yeah, that's some of my favorite shit. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, I mean, like In the Bedroom, fuck yeah, give me movies like that all day. That are just like punch you in the face dramas that are like, yeah, Oscars, let's go.
Wouldn't have started this podcast if we didn't love Oscar bait.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to have a balance, right? There's kind of the, like digging into movies like Promising Young Woman or Sound of Metal, and then The Father. What else do we got here? No, Nomadland is definitely a typical Oscar type movie. One Night in Miami, I would say, is more of kind of typical docudrama. I like One Night in Miami though. I thought that shit was cool. I thought Pieces of a Woman was pretty dope. A movie that I do want to see really bad is The White Tiger.
Yes,
which is up for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I believe I wanted to do this movie on Sneak Preview. What week was that though?
That was our Dark Knight trilogy recast.
Oh yeah, there was no moving that shit. Yeah.
The thing is though, I regret my words big time because I think what I said was I don't think anyone's going to be talking about that one or something like that. And
yeah, it was just kind of passive, because I heard, and I'll be honest, this isn't from my own brain. This is Ramin Bahraini's The White Tiger. It's up for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I heard a guy on a podcast say this is actually pretty good. He said he was like, it's actually kind of like a gangster epic, and I was like, oh, all right, maybe I'll check that out. So, one day, man, that would be a cool one to do on this show. That kind of has the one-off nomination. We love doing movies like that.
Yeah, I regret big time. We should. Yeah, I wish. This might be the first year ever where I try to attempt the full slate and just watch every film, including the shorts that was up for anything this year. Because I've seen roughly maybe 80% already. I mean,
yeah. The work you'll have to do is probably, let's see, The Midnight Sky. Have you seen that?
I did. That was not bad.
Love and Monsters.
Didn't see that.
Pinocchio.
I didn't even know there was an Italian Pinocchio with Roberto Benigni as Geppetto. I can't believe they let him anywhere near a Pinocchio again.
What the hell? Have you seen News of the World? Tommy Hanks?
I did. That was really, really good. I recommend that big time.
Yeah, you've seen so much of this stuff. A Greyhound?
Yeah, that was weak.
And then here's Best Original Song, Judas and Black Messiah, yes, of course. Of course, you've seen Eurovision, One Night in Miami. Best documentary. That's where you'll have to do some work. Best documentary is short. Best documentary feature, and then besides that, man, you're almost there.
The international film is going to take some work.
Yeah, all five of the documentaries, and then the 5 shorts.
Yeah,
10 shorts, but those are easy.
And the one and only Ivan, I haven't seen that either.
Okay, all right.
That's not tough. That's
about a month away.
That's a weekend.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I feel as though we, we're doing an Oscar Sunday show and we don't talk a lot about what's going on right now in the Oscar race. And as it is a month away, we're going to start doing that a little bit more. At the beginning of each show, we'll just kind of see where we're both at, and it's kind of a race at this point. And we will have a big proper Oscar kind of recap on Sneak Preview the day after the Oscars. So we'll both be able to, kind of dive into our thoughts about what actually happens. But for now, it's just speculation, and that's half the fun.
Oh yeah, man, this is Super Bowl season. Like, this is the best. This is the shit. I wait for this every year. Like, bring it on.
Yeah. And we still got a movie from 1933 to talk about a little bit here. So we'll kind of. Is there anything else you want to kind of speak about the race of the 93rd Academy Awards, or do you want to go ahead and jump to the 6th?
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it a lot from here on out.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I echo all that. I'm super, super excited. And this is the first time where you and I have been able to track it while we're doing shows and doing them on Sneak Preview and talking about them here. And it's very cool to just kind of, pour your thoughts out about these while it's happening. And we are always going back to history and going back in time with Oscar Sunday and Filmgazm and Giggle Guys, and we're always reaching back and kind of paying homage to the past. It's nice to be a part of the current conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad we have kind of everything situated to take care of that on its own in a weird way. Like, we've kind of prepared for this. It's nice.
Exactly. Yeah, was not prepared for She Done Him Wrong though, Connor. You brought it over to me. You had it on DVD and let me borrow it, and you told me, you're like, kind of like, this is not the strongest film. I was like, what could be wrong with it? It's a fucking hour, And that's exactly the problem. It's just it at no point knows exactly what it is, right? Yeah. And throughout this entire hour, we're just kind of getting these, for the most part, half-assed performances and half-assed movie. And I don't know, I just was left a little speechless, which is even rare when I don't like a movie, because it's fun to shit on movies, but I don't even know what to say about this.
I was very disappointed with Cary Grant. Like, I know he's better than this. So, like, what the fuck was he doing here? This is a film that for some reason has kind of become iconic. Like, it's in the 1001 movies to see before you die compendium, but it's also got a 53% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, like, people don't like this movie, but critics won't let it go. I don't know where that middle ground is, if you can even find it.
It's not, I don't know. It's similarly on Letterboxd, people just kind of tear it apart. As it's been revisited now, people are just kind of like, what the hell is this? And, it has this significance as, kind of one of the pre-code films, right?
Yeah.
And, we've brought up the Hays Code plenty of times, this nasty, basically book of laws for movies that lasted for longer than 30 years and just kind of derailed American movie making in some ways. And it's very frustrating to see that it's even necessary, right? Or that it was even a thing. And this movie here, compared to now, obviously is whatever, but you put yourself in the 30s and you're like, God damn, She Done Him Wrong. They're kind of going for it here. But I again, even in the 30s, I've seen seen other films that are, first off, way better, but also just kind of a little more risque, I guess. I don't know.
Well, here's the way I kind of balance it. In 1948, in the midst of the Hays Code, we see Humphrey Bogart machete another man to death in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And She Done Him Wrong, before the code, we see a little bit of cleavage.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. That's what the code was trying to stop us from seeing. That and a strong woman openly seducing men.
Yeah, especially a cop. Yeah.
Yeah, a cop and a temperance guy.
Yeah.
So it can't be fucking with the virtuous.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it is. It's set in the 1890s, New York City, and Lady Lou, that's Mae West's character, just kind of, she's a singer at this bar, and I kid you not, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia knows how to film a bar better. I mean, Jesus H. Christ.
So I think for me, the worst offense is she's a terrible fucking singer.
Yeah.
Good God, overdub her, something. I mean, no, like, there's no way. I don't care how hot she is. People would not. It'd stop coming. She's that
Good
bad.
Lord. Yeah. What is that sound? Yeah. They just go down the street to the next person who has a better voice or whatever. Yeah. I also immediately was like, yeah, I wouldn't pay to hear a person sing like that. You know, when I pay money to see someone sing or play music, I want to be impressed, not shrieking.
If I'm going to shell out a full like hay penny or however much it costs for a bottle of whiskey in 1890, I want some goddamn entertainment. And this was not entertainment.
Yeah, no. And therefore, She Done Him Wrong. Weak movie. It one of the most fascinating things is that it made $2 million, on a budget of about 200,000. And so, in the 30s, you got to think, wow, this is a kind of a big deal. And, you read up these things and it's kind of set some records back in the early 30s, and then has the effect of kind of setting the Hays Code, sending it into play. And then we just see kind of just ridiculous, little laws that are all over Hollywood and all over movie making up until the late 60s. And when you watch this movie, you feel like you're going to be just kind of floored by it. But again, you're just not. The little bit of cleavage just does not do it. Just does not floor you like you think it will.
Adjusted for inflation, $2 million in 1933 is $40 million today, roughly. A little over.
Yeah.
That's a decent box office gross.
Yeah.
You think it was just, there were only like 8 movies that came out per year that people wanted to see? You think that's why it's like, well, I can't drink and the world's about, falling apart. I might as well go to the movie.
Yeah. 8 movies and the Academy nominated all of them for Best Picture.
I can't get a whiskey and the crops are dead. Better go to the pictures. That's pretty much why.
Oh yeah, I'm going to see that new picture. She Done Him Wrong. A little bit of cleavage, eh?
The movie did us wrong. Damn it. It's
my
so
God.
weak for so little. I mean, all of Mae West's lines are, half-assed innuendos. I felt like I was watching Batman and Robin. Like, it's just this, there's no character developing dialogue apart from the time when she just randomly kills somebody.
Yeah. What the hell was that all about? It's like,
which is also never addressed. She just says like, hey, you take care of this. And we never hear from that again.
Yeah, it was kind of hilarious. I was like, oh, am I watching a Hitchcock movie now? What's going on? Yeah. We have another 30 minutes or something. Oh my gosh. Absurd. And this ceremony that it's at, again, it's only nominated for Best Picture. And so of course both of us are like, what the fuck is that about? But then you just look at the 6th Academy Awards and you're like, oh, shit's just weird. Like, look at the outstanding production category. You have Cavalcade, which won, 42nd Street, A Farewell to Arms, I'm a Fugitive from a Chain Gang, Lady for a Day, Little Women, The Private Life of Henry VIII, She Done Him Wrong, Smiling Through, and State Fair. And then you go to Best Director, and there's only fucking 3 nominations. You're like, what is this?
The weirdest, scroll down to best assistant director. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 winners. What the fuck is this?
Wait a minute. So best assistant director, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 18 people nominated and 7 winners for best assistant director.
These early Oscars just slay me, really.
The Academy Award for Best Assistant Director was awarded from 1933 through 1937. Good. In the first year of this award, it referred to no specific film. No kidding, because there's 7.
These were small crews and small studios. Like, all the same people made the same fucking movies. There's no... Yeah, this is crazy.
Oh my God. So basically what I see here is a participation award for all the major studios: Paramount, Universal, MGM, United Artists, Warner Brothers, RKO, 20th Century Fox. Basically, what they're doing is like, here, we'll just suck your dick for a second so you'll shut the fuck up. Here's your gold. Now get the hell out of here. We're getting rid of this award in 2 years.
God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. This is some Louis B. Mayer make everyone happy bullshit.
100%. You don't even need to do any research. You already know where this came from.
God, just it's amazing this evolved into a competent award show that made sense and actually honored film. Because in the early years, it's a fucking mess. It really is.
It's an absolute shit show. Most of the categories have 3. There's a couple that have 4. And then, of course, that ridiculous assistant director and outstanding production both have a bunch. I will say I desperately want to see Morning Glory. It's Katharine Hepburn, one of her 4 wins. And, she's arguably the most, decorated, depending on how you look at it. Meryl Streep has more nominations, but Katharine Hepburn has the most wins ever. And it's always fun to watch those, just to kind of, even if it's just to check them off the list, you never know, you might really dig it. So I really want to see Morning Glory.
Very much like to see The Private Life of Henry VIII. Charles Laughton is an actor I've heard a lot about, would like to explore his work, and a director. I think he did The Night of the Hunter.
That sounds right. Yeah.
There's, bits and pieces from every award show that we would like to see. A lot of these films probably don't exist anymore. But I'm sure, we can find some of these.
Oh yeah, for sure. I watched Farewell to Arms on Criterion. It's awesome, man. Gary Cooper is fucking super good in it. So I enjoyed that one, and it just shows you, hey, like not every 30s movie is just kind of lackadaisical and like she done him wrong. There are great movies from every decade and bad movies from every decade. I anticipate coming back to this one, to this ceremony through probably Private Life of Henry VIII, and then I'll watch Morning Glory by doing that, But I don't intend on coming back for a while.
Classic does not always mean good. The Birth of a Nation is a classic. That does not mean it's a good movie. It's a racist piece of shit, but it is a classic. So classic is not synonymous with a masterpiece, and I think more people need to know that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, those words do not always mean the same thing. Do you want to pick some awards for this bullshit or what?
I can try.
Yeah. I got some here. I had a lot of trouble with the Ennio because of the lack of kind of information about this score on the internet, because I was trying to find the names of. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find this particular score online, so I couldn't find the name of the song that I liked from the movie, which is so sad, Oh man, but yeah, I got him picked out here. We're gonna try to have some fun. We got the Tarantino for best line or quote, the Ennio for best music moment, the Philip Seymour Hoffman for best performance of the movie, and the Roger Deakins for best scene or moment. So I'll let you take it away with your Tarantino.
Let's preface this with, these are all participation trophies for me. I have no investment in this movie.
Same. With that said, before, what is your rating of this movie?
It's 5.
Yeah, same. I also, on Letterboxd, gave it a fat 2.5 stars. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. I really want one day some Oscar historian to call us out and be like, how dare you? And we can just say, like, how dare you? I would love for that to happen.
You fucker. Yeah. You've disrespected. God.
Oh boy. So my Tarantino is pretty much the only recognizable line that came out of this movie. It's Mae West saying, "Why don't you come up sometime and see me?" Yeah. Become kind of it's on the case. Like, it's one of the most iconic movie quotes of all time, because it's a woman in 1933 finding a way to say, "I want to fuck you," in a film that you could not swear in. So yeah, and she said that a lot to the same guy, like, "Hey, you, come and see me." Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's the movie. That is the screenplay. Is Mae West just kind of occasionally saying things that are innuendos. So, I was like, let me find one that's not totally that, but it actually kind of is, because you can't. And it's when it's Lady Lou Mae West talking to Serge, and she's like, "But you wouldn't be much use to me dead, would you?" Thought that was kind of funny, just the delivery, because her voice is just so crazy, singing and talking. And I thought that scene was sort of funny, because she's just kind of like, "I have control of you, bitch. I got you by the balls." And while I would rather see that, just like a woman just say, "I have you by the balls, bitch," it was a decent piece of the screenplay, I guess.
Amazing if just randomly in a 1930s film somebody just goes, "I got you by the balls, bitch."
Yeah, just out of nowhere. Yeah. Kill Bill style. Yeah.
It's interesting because I've seen all the American Pie films. I've seen Animal House. I've seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I've seen so many movies. This might be the horniest movie I've ever seen. Like, everybody is just, "I gotta fuck something."
But I'm not quite gonna say it.
Even Mae West the whole time is like, before every line she says is like, like she's checking somebody out at all times. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, yeah. Maybe that's the symbolism of the movie, is that we're all just sexual animals. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess, do they like get married at the end? Is that Cary Grant like, "Hey, I'm a cop, but also, will you marry me"? Is that what that
was? That's what I interpreted. And she's like, "Oh, you already got me. Haha. You don't need those handcuffs." Haha. I was like, "Oh, so they're in a relationship?" And the credits started rolling, and I was like, "Jesus, I gotta watch something else."
The story felt like some fanfic from a one-act play at a high school. Like, just ridiculous. Every idea they had, like, "Oh, what if they did this? Oh, what if they get married? Oh, what if he's a cop?" See? Like, they just kept coming up with shit, but nobody told them to stop.
Exactly. I would love to be in that writer's room. Or lack thereof.
One writer in like a small hotel room, just giant pile of Quaaludes, and just trying to, Mae West is coming. I gotta write something horny. Like,
oh my God. And they're like, "Jesus, man, you only turned out a hour-long movie?" "Yeah, but it's genius. I swear to God, it's got everything."
Locked away in a hotel room, gives them 5 pages, and it's like, "You got to do something with this. This is all I got." I guess we could get an hour out of this. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, that is wonderful. That's the screenplay though, man. It's just Mae West kind of, "Hey, you want to go upstairs?" That's all it is. And then talking about diamonds, yeah.
About diamonds.
The Ennio, even this gentleman's name, John, I believe it's John Leopold. He's not credited for this score on IMDb, and I was trying to do research on him, and I just could not find anything. Could not find anything about this guy who composed the score for this movie. And I thought there were some okay music moments, but I can't figure out what they're all called. And that kind of sucks, because I usually like to pinpoint a piece of the score, and usually you can find it on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. And with this one, I just could not find anything. But I actually went back and started the movie over, and I was going through kind of the intro music, just kind of started the movie, and I think that the theme song, in a way, I guess what you call it, is pretty effective in itself. But I wanted to kind of find a specific piece, and I couldn't.
Shame. But it's not surprising that they didn't throw credit to the composer. I mean, early Hollywood, they were way more thrifty than they are today. I mean, just to save money, they would, get somebody to compose and then, fuck over their contract, and that would be the end of it. I mean, these guys were powerful. Who you're a film composer? You're gonna tell Louis B. Mayer you didn't get your credit? He's gonna tell you get out of his office and you'll never work in this town again.
Yeah,
it was the risk you took before all these people could unionize. My music moment comes from really just Lou's first musical number, because it caught me off guard of how bad she was a singer she was.
I almost did that. I almost did that too. Just the initial shriek. Yeah.
Wow, just singing through her nose, the most and even the lyrics of the song are like, "Aren't I hot? Don't you want to fuck me?" Like, that's the whole thing. The whole fucking thing is that. There's no substance here at all.
Wonderful. It was like, it was as if, William, I don't know how to say his name again, the head producer here from Paramount, LeBron. I don't know. I don't want to say LeBron, but it's LeBaron maybe. I don't know. He just doesn't, these decisions they're making are terrible. And in the singing, at what point were you watching and you're like, yeah, this is what we got? And then they're just going to go with it and be like, yeah, we have to make this movie. We have to commit to this. It's almost like when someone gets caught in a lie and they're like, oh, fuck. And they got to kind of backtrack but they're so committed that they're just going to kind of roll with it. It's like this movie. They just kind of had no idea what exactly they're doing. They're just going to kind of go with it. And that sucks.
The screenwriter overslept, never wrote anything. And went into the studio with a packet of blank pages, and they're like, all right, give us the outline. He's like, well, he looks out the window, sees a nightclub. It's a nightclub singer.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Diamond truck rolls past. She's after diamonds. She likes diamonds. And temperance movement guys start walking out. There's a temperance guy, cops walking after him, and he's a cop. That's what it feels like. There's no nothing connects. This guy was just winging it.
Yeah. Also, we're just gonna be more risque than most other movies, and that's gonna be our thing. That's gonna be kind of our that'll be our trait. Yeah. Fuck off. So ridiculous. The Philip Seymour Hoffman. Just nobody really deserves this. But I give it to Mae West just for fun. I thought Cary Grant was kind of just phoning it in the entire time, so I went with Mae West.
I also went with Mae West because nobody else really. I mean, say what you want about her performance, I remembered it. It's nothing special, but I do remember hearing her just be horny for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, and for whatever it's worth, you walk away with some stuff and other things you forget. That's what happens when you watch a shit ton of movies. And I'm gonna forget a lot of this movie, but you and I went back and forth with her kind of, her voice. Clearly, we were kind of laughing about it. So that's something. Again, these are not really the proper statues that we're giving out. These are kind of foil made up ones. Here you go.
Yeah, usually, we have a winner. This time, it's the kids' soccer team that didn't take home the gold, but everyone, the coach is still like, hey, we're going out for pizza. That's a victory, right? That's what.
Yeah. Come on, kids. Yeah, we have ribbons to hand out. Yeah.
Pizza victory with ribbons where nobody's really happy.
Incredible. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do it then. The Roger Deakins, what do you got?
Just because it caught me off guard and I was hoping something was going to come from it. It's when Lou just randomly kills Rita with a knife to the chest.
Yeah. Has to be the Russian Rita moment. Has to be.
But it's over like a pin. And Lou's reaction's like, oh, damn. Looks like I'm in a bind again. Hey, you, clean this up for me, will you? That's it. There's no, and guy's I'd do anything for you, Lou.
Yeah, and maybe do that as your main plot point. I don't know, like maybe have her murder Rita, and then there's this whole thing about this super important pen, and now people are after it. I don't know, maybe do some screenwriting. And that scene, like you said, you just kind of catches you off guard. And that performance, I don't know her name, that plays Russian Rita, she's incredible. I'll get it here. I believe it is it's not Owen Moore. Is it? Not Owen Moore, not Gilbert Roland, obviously, not Noah Beery. I don't know who that lady was because her accent is absolutely bonkers.
Raffaella Altiano.
Yeah, there she is. Yep. Just came across her as well.
Italian.
Yeah, I thought that moment was like actually worth watching. Yeah.
I think, if that had happened at the beginning, like the whole first, 20 minutes, you've got, this sex symbol who's super, positive in her body image and very confident, accidentally murders somebody. And then you see that persona unravel over the course of the movie as she's like racked with guilt and fear of what comes next. You got a movie there.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's ways to go here. And there are some amazing kind of like crime thrillers in the 30s that are just fucking mind blowing. And this movie probably could have gone there and just decided not to until the very end when it was too late. I give it a 5, man. I don't really desire to revisit it. It's, along with Hamlet, my least favorite movie we've ever covered on Oscar Sunday.
I don't know. I really hated Faces.
I know.
I also give it a 5.
You also didn't like you didn't like you liked La Strada, you just didn't like the other Fellini ones. Yeah, but base movies, yeah. It's gotta be Faces, this, and Hamlet.
And Chariots of Fire.
Yeah. Oh man, that one was so forgettable. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Already. That was our last Best Picture Showdown, episode 40. I already forgot it. Oh my gosh.
100 years of Oscars. They can't all be winners.
Incredible stuff, man. Well, that was in its own way. It was fun, and I'm really glad we got to talk about the race that's happening right now in real life with the 93 Academy Awards coming up in about a month. I'm really excited. Next week we'll kind of talk a little bit about them again. If I see The Father, I'll definitely bring it up. Maybe we can cover a different category next week and kind of just look at the best actor race, kind of see where we're at, best actress, best supporting, best director, all these different things. It's getting to that point where you and I, like you said, it's Super Bowl Sunday is coming up, and we're just getting excited, and we like to kind of keep our minds in that gear. But next week we are doing a massive holiday Easter, bonanza. We're gonna attempt to cover the near 4-hour long The 10 Commandments from 1956, which is a movie that I have not seen at all. I'm very excited to dive into this kind of epic movie that is seen as a technical kind of like landmark in cinema. So I can't wait, man.
I'm excited. This has been, I have not seen a lot of religious films. It's Easter Sunday. It's the 65th anniversary of the 10 Commandments this year. So we thought it'd be, a good movie to kind of, tackle on Easter. And it is 3 hours and 40 minutes long. It's the story of Moses. And I'm excited. I've only ever seen the scene where he parts the Red Sea, and it is quite astonishing for 1956. But I have not seen the rest of the film, and I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, total of 7 nominations, 1 win for best effects, special effects. So yeah, join us next week for Easter, and we're going to dive into the 10 Commandments.
Hell yeah. This week on Filmgazm, I am going into deeply disturbing territory by covering the film that gave me endless nightmares when I was 6 years old, the 2001 sci-fi comedy Evolution.
Very nice. Can't wait to listen to that.
All makes sense on the episode, I promise. And on the sneak preview, we're going to be covering the new Bob Odenkirk action thriller Nobody. Caleb will be on that one, so check that out. And whatever we got coming up with the Giggle Guys, loving their catalog thus far.
Yeah, no kidding, man. They've done, let's see, The Other Guys, Booksmart, I Love You, Man, and The Disaster Artist. just a really unique variety, and I'm really enjoying what they're doing. Definitely check that out. It's a totally different change of pace to what you're kind of used to on Filmgazm, and you know, you and I, one of the first things we talked about as kind of just friends is comedy. You know, is what movies that just fucking make us laugh, and especially TV too, right? You know, we clicked right away talking about It's Always Sunny and Seinfeld and those things, and so having kind of these voices that they say things that I have thought before, and having those voices on our show is really really cool to speak about these funny ass movies.
And we've managed to create a 4-show environment where we can talk about pretty much everything.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, obviously this is super specific to Oscar nominated movies and whatnot, but that's a pretty vast you know, pool of movies. And then Filmgazm is really pulling from horror and thriller and those kind of gritty genre movies, and then comedy, and Sneak Preview has no rules. So it's, yeah, man, we're in a really interesting spot and having a lot of fun and finding a groove for sure.
Hell yeah. I hope we were able to make this disappointing film entertaining for y'all. Thanks for listening to it if you made it this far. Tune in next week for the 10 Commandments, and we'll see you next Sunday.